today we're going to be talking about some stuff that you can't download. And you can't download stuff when you don't ask your parents to download it. And you have to ask your parents. And if you ask your parents, and if they say yes, you can download it. But if they say no, you just got to do something else. Bye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Nia Jovan Andrews, editor and owner of One Purpose Magazine. I am here with another week of your digital show. Yes, I say yours. I do this for the people. That's who I do it for, if you will, if you don't mind. So usually I try to give a few updates of what's going on with One Purpose Magazine. We are still developing, still in the process of bringing things together. I am still planning the magazine issue, the annual issue that comes out usually at the top of the year, and I'm moving it and pushing it towards the fall. Fall is just a better season for me. It's just a better season. That's what it boils down to. It's a better season for me. So we're going to see how it works out coming out in the fall. And if it works out, great. If not, then I'll just have to come out with an issue early next year, right? To get back on path to how we're doing things normally. But hopefully fall works out. I was just so busy with other things this year. I was like, well, fall is my favorite season. Why not try to just switch it? Because I can do that, because I'm the owner. You know, I can make these types of decisions. It is what it is. So I don't have many updates for you. That's where I'm at with that. I wrote a couple of articles for the magazine, and we're talking about economic development, right? We're doing our spill on what it means to develop our communities locally. So I have a few articles that I have written for the magazine that's related to the topic. And I'm going to not share them, but they're going to be my starting points. And as you can see, I'm doing my own control room here, as usual. So the first topic, if you were to visit the magazine, you'll see those articles posted at the very top of the website. So the first topic that I'm going to discuss on the show today is this magnificent project that they're working on in Chicago for economic development that is spearheaded by the Obamas. Amazing, right? So it is a project that came with a lot of pushback. Some people in the community were not opposed to it or against it, but they wanted to know, hey, what do we get? How do we benefit from you bringing this library, if you will, to a community on the south side of Chicago? So in the summer of 2020, I'll just say that last year when I drove through Jackson Park, because that's where it's going to be if I didn't say. So Jackson Park is like right around the Hyde Park area. It is very close to the lakefront, Lakeshore Drive. It's in that vicinity. So when I drove through the area last year, and I drive through this area to get to work all the time. But when I drove through there last year, which I did seldomly because we were working from home, it was just so destitute and so sad, and it was so heartbreaking because it's an area that's usually vibrant, and you see a lot of people in the community using the space and doing what you're supposed to do in an inner city, just enjoying the benefits of being out. You see a little bit of cultural diversity in that area, and it's right by the lake, so you see people going by to the lakefront with their lawn chairs, and usually there's grilling going on and picnicking, so it is a fun area to drive through when the city is normal. But last year when I drove through this area, it was just destitute, like many of the places in Chicago, and it was so sad. So I think that it is very important to have that area vibrant and have it lively. And so I kind of got what a lot of the people were saying when they was just like, you know, is this going to be usable space for the community if it's turned into a museum or a library? And the people did not have a say so in that. So there's been some back and forth with a particular organization that I'm going to tell you the name of the organization in just 1 second, because I do have it. I had it. Well, I thought I had it. Maybe I don't. I'll get that. Oh no, it's Protect Our Parks, which is an organization that brought a case to the U.S. District Court, and they were pretty much saying that the people didn't have a choice, and it's space that is preserved for the use of the people. And so how is it that a library is going to be able to accommodate the park and the things that the people get to enjoy? And so it was brought before a judge, and he ruled in favor of the City of Chicago Park District just recently, and that the presidential library campus could be built in Jackson Park. So basically what they were just saying for this economic development plan is, what's going to happen? Like what does this mean for the city? So through the Department of Planning and Development and the Chicago Department of Transportation, they're working on several roadway improvement projects in Jackson Park that will support the Obama Presidential Center and the South Lakefront Framework Plan update. All sounds exciting, right? So when these projects are completed, they will support a revitalization of Jackson Park, since it was originally designed by renowned landscape architects in 1871. Jackson Park has undergone multiple transformations in the last 100 years, which have altered the original design, including the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893, the Chicago Park District South Lakefront Framework Plan of 1999 outlined many of the proposed improvements now under consideration. The Park District recently completed a planning process in April 2018 to update the South Lakefront Framework Plan specifically for Jackson Park and the South Shore Cultural Center. The 2018 Framework Plan update provides a plan for the next several years to respond to neighborhood needs and historic context, provide a vision for improvement, serve as a planning tool, and outline priorities to deliver improvements in a coordinated manner, of course. Various proposed projects and accompanying roadways changes with Jackson Park require a federal level environmental review under the National Environmental Policy Act, the NEPA, as well as consultation under section blah 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 acts and all of that legal stuff, right? So that's what the city is saying. And so there are other things that's brought up in the article. You have to read it because it lays out some of the things that the people wanted. So what to expect from the library / museum? I looked at the blueprint. It's really cool, actually, what I saw, the blueprint. So it's a library museum, but it's a 235 feet tall museum building, a forum building. I guess we'll see, right? A library building, a program, athletic and activity center, an underground parking garage, a plaza, and exterior grounds. So that was very important to the community to have that. And if you go to my website, to the article, you can click on it and look at the blueprint yourself. And so what did the people want? What were they asking for? They were asking for employment, jobs, to pay a living wage. They want it to be monitored, so they want a quarterly report. As far as the economic development, development occurs without displacing present residents, very important. Develop a Black business corridor and generally support local small business development. Establish a revenue sharing program with the library and the Black business corridor to support local community and economic development activities. Set aside a majority of all contracts with the library for minority-owned businesses. Education, of course, all of the libraries there, and they're asking that the library connect with the schools to enhance school programming. Tutoring is offered. The library should offer its programming for free to CPS students. Establish relationship with the current Chicago public libraries and other area libraries to share resources, Housing, support the development of a federation of community land trusts in the surrounding neighborhoods. Set aside significant guarantees for new housing, for low-income housing in the area surrounding the library. Create an emergency rental assistance program. Transportation, if you're not familiar with the area, it may not make sense, but improve Metro Electric with input for community stakeholders. Restore some of the bus services and facilitate transit-oriented economic development. Sustainability is another component that is added. Sustain, increase, upgrade, and maximize green open space for local uses and local users. Replace the 21-acre footprint of the library with at least 21 acres of quality nearby parkland designed for, with, and by neighboring stakeholders, including state-of-the-art replacement sport facilities. Interesting. Support and engage sustainable Southside Community Council in developing resilience features applicable to all new development, upgrades, repairs, and future planning. So all of those things are very important to what we talk about as far as economic development, and it seems as though the Obama plan for the library has a lot of these components built in so that it can be a model to what different communities can do in urban areas to develop their communities and do things so that, you know, people are thriving and it's not leaving anyone behind, and institutions and recreations and education are all working together to facilitate good, healthy communities. That's so very important. And if this comes to fruition, I think that it could be a great landscape of how you can begin to use resources to turn around communities. Because if you listen to what a lot of the organizations who have done research on the Chicago areas and that have been who have suffered from disinvestment, the South Side, the West Side, and areas of all of them narrow it down to primarily resources. These communities lack the resources that they need for people to thrive and for people to feel like they don't have to subject themselves to the things that are going on currently to make a living, to have a way of life, to feel like they have something going on to be attached to. So we'll see. I'm excited about seeing it. I'm excited about possibly working with the library in the future on different projects. But one thing that I said in my last digital show that I thought was very relevant was the importance of local media. So President Obama did a news show, a segment, a talk with Anderson Cooper on CNN, right? And so Anderson Cooper began to ask him about legacy and what that meant to him. And one of the components that he brought up in his conversation in discussing legacy is the importance that media plays in building community and helping people understand local politics and the things that they can get involved in and the issues that's going on around them and the relevance of that. So I wrote an article about that too. I wrote an article on the website, and if you go to www.One Purpose Magazine, you'll find that article at the top of the website. So local media relevance in economic development, the value of media in reinvesting in communities that have struggled through disinvestment. That's what we're talking about, right? So when Obama brought this up, I was like, I just talked about that. I said last week that one component that you may realize is very significant to this publication, meaning One Purpose Magazine, was the creation of the Tulsa Star, right? Because we were talking about the Tulsa massacre, race massacre, and because it's so relevant and timely, we were talking about that. And the Tulsa Star was a Black-owned newspaper that regularly informed African Americans about their legal rights in any court rulings or legislation that was beneficial or harmful to their community. So basically, I was just like, right on, former President Obama. Like, I've always felt like we've seen eye to eye. I think I don't know what it is. That's just, him and his wife. I always feel like I see ads. It could be a Chicago thing. That's what it is. Maybe it's a Chicago thing. I don't know. But when he brought this up, the first thing that came to mind for me was the Chicago Defender. The Chicago Defender was one of the most popular newspapers that was, I believe, it started out being I want to say a weekly publication. It started out being a weekly publication. I could be wrong. You can check me on that. You know, I'm sorry. But then it turned into a daily publication. And it was founded in 1905 by Robert S. Abbott. It originally was a 4-page weekly. See, there we go. I got the answers. If I just look at what I wrote already, I do my work. And it, like some of the other white-owned publications, it did use sensationalism to boost circulation. And it was, like I said, the most popular. And the Defender was a legendary black newspaper that changed America from the age of the Pullman Porters to the age of Obama. It has always been a relevant newspaper for black people. And it started it played a leading role in the widespread of the Great Migration for African Americans from the South to the North. And I think that we all should have an idea of what the media, the role and the truth of what the media has played in our society. I think that is so important, because I think that a lot of times we get the role of the media skewed by what it is that we see today. And what we see today isn't really a depiction of what the role of the media, according to the Constitution, should be used for. Today's media is used a lot for propaganda. And a lot of the people that blame the media for being what it is, use the media for what it's become. So, you know what? We just got to get back to what we know. We look out, we have to be the trendsetters, which we've always been. We have to be the ones who set the standard. I feel you can take this however you want to take it, but it's just like if you live in a household and someone is doing something wrong. Dad is doing something wrong that isn't working. Dad is messing up the finances, but mom has always been good at managing the finances and doing it well. She has a reputation for doing things with integrity. No offense to men. We love gender. We don't do gender roles here, but just for the sake of argument, right? So mom is usually good with finances and does things with integrity all the time and upholds her obligations. So dad has been messing up a little bit for whatever reason. He got off track. Mom steps in, get us back on track. Because mom is just used to it. Mom is used to having to operate this way. I think that's what America needs. I think that those who have been running things, it's time for them to just step aside a little bit. I'm not saying that you're not needed. All I'm saying is that it's time to let others lead. And those who have been successful in leading in smaller sectors may have to take over some things and do things with integrity, not get lost on their path, be upright in how they do things and how they've had to do things, because we all know that black people have to be work 10 times harder, be 10 steps ahead. So we're used to this. So I think that we can depend on a part of this population in America who have not been given who haven't been given the opportunity to truly lead. Allow black folks to lead. I think that this country will find itself in a better place, because I think we're good at it. I mean, no offense to anyone. I'm just saying, we all in this together, right? If you really believe all lives matter. Do you really believe all lives matter? Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. So moving on. We'll move on. We don't want to get caught up and tied up and blamed in the blame game or anything. So, Black museums in the Rust Belt. So, let's just say, okay, I'm using the Rust Belt because I'm talking about cities, urban cities along the lakes that have a history of a manufacturing history, right? This is a history class. I feel like I'm a history class today, but just for the sake of growing and developing, we in this together. But we have these cities, urban cities, where I should say, Black folks from the South migrated to for jobs, for manufacturing, for work, and things like that. Once the manufacturing was gone, the work was gone, cities began to crumble. That's the story. But the truth of the matter is that in the mess of it all, there has still been thriving in your urban cities that is usually looked over, that people tend to not pay attention to. And so I think it is very important that we begin to shift the narrative to the positive. Yes, people are fleeing back to the South. Yes, things have changed economically for a lot of people. But at the same time, in a lot of these areas, Black people have been able to advance in ways that is just phenomenal. In medicine, these areas are great for the medical field, for studying medicine, for studying science. These areas are great for building small businesses and sustaining capital in that area and small business development. In the arts, these areas are amazing in the arts. And so I think that we have to start telling those stories and utilizing the museums that tell the stories, that preserve the history, and talk about those things. You have greatness in these areas that we overlook all the time. You have success stories. Look at what we just were talking about. Chicago Defender, one of the best Black-owned publications that has transcended time. That was in Chicago. There was also papers and things that were happening in Detroit. Music. We said the arts. Some of our favorite people came from out of Detroit. Gary, Indiana. I mean, if I say that, who are the first people that you think of? So when we listen to the narrative of the Rust Belt and how the areas are crumbling and diminishing and everybody is leaving fast and all of these stories that the media gives us to kind of, excite us and get us riled up and all of that stuff. If you get past that sensationalism that we talked about and you get to the reality of a lot of things that's taking place in the truth, you find out that we have been and are currently making history as we speak in some of these areas, and we really just have to look out for each other. So it doesn't matter if you went to the South, if you went further north, if you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, it doesn't matter where you are. Collectively, the story is always going to come together and show what a people, an oppressed people, are made of. Full of greatness. And look what we were talking about at the top of the show. Obama, first Black president, started in the streets of Chicago. It's so many things that go on and throughout this country, but you cannot leave out the stories that are birthed in chaos. Chaos. That's all we can call it, is chaos. And I have one last topic for you all that I want to discuss. Now, this is an area that I want to get better in, right? This is an area that I feel like I need to do better. And that is pride. this is Pride Month, right? This is a month where we celebrate the LGBTQ plus community. This is the month where we say we love you, we embrace you, we accept you, we want you to speak about who it is and what it is that you are, and feel free in doing it, and we will not judge you, and we celebrate with you, we stand with you, and most of all, we love you. You know, we are each other, you are us. It's love, right? That's what I hear all the time. But I do recognize as a Black woman that our brothers and sisters within the LGBTQ community, they have their struggles, especially in the Black community. It is something that, you know, I still hear a lot of terminology in the Black community that kind of sounds homophobic. And so I think that it is important for all of us to take the opportunity to learn a little bit about the terminology so that we can have better conversations with our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ community. And so I found, and I'm going to post these on my website, I will get around to doing that. So I'm thinking that we should learn the terminology to hold dialogue. And so I found the TrevorProject.org helped me a lot. There's a website, let me go to it, that'll help me a little bit. Oh, so it's the New Jersey Institute of Technology. But they have this cool web page that breaks down the vocabulary. And I was just like, oh, this helps a lot, because there's a lot of words that I see being used that I'm just not familiar with yet. And so I'm like, I have to go on and like for example, cisgender. I didn't know what that was, but I went onto this website and I found out it's a person whose biological sex matches with their gender identity. An example, a biologically born woman who identifies as a woman. So I'm cisgender, okay? I didn't know that. So I'm learning. So when people say things to me, I'm not looking crazy and pretending like I know, and I can actually know what some of these words mean. And I'm excited about that. I love learning, and I love getting to know people deeper and better and having a better understanding. And like I said, a lot of what's going on in this country is like we had a reset button. A lot of it is new. A lot of us are learning different things, especially about each other. And listen, we have never, I'm just be upfront. What has happened to in the Black community with the gay community is not something that a lot of Black people are proud of. You know, we're not proud of the fact that we have displayed homophobia and made people feel ostracized, and as though they could not have conversations about who they truly are, and they have to hide their identity. That's not something that we're proud of, and that's something that we're working on. And I just can say, Black people, we ask for white people to begin to change how they think, change their hearts, understand Black folks more, and realize who we are and why. I mean, there's no question that equality should be just a norm. But I think that we can lead the way in showing people how to treat other people. You know, of course, race is not something that we can use to lead that way. No, it's not. But in the movement for the LGBTQ plus community, I believe it's a plus. I see plus all the time. Again, I'm learning. But as a way to kind of just give an example and show people how love's supposed to work and how acceptance and equality is supposed to work, we have a history of not showing and displaying that to our to the gay community. So I think we can lead the way in doing that. Open our hearts, show love, embrace, treat people how you want to be treated, period, regardless of how they come to the table. And with that, I am going to say peace. I love you all. Until next week, holla. Bye-bye.